All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Marv and Basketball. I've got someone very special with me right now. He's actually family, but like we haven't seen each other for many years. I can actually tell you a funny story. The first time I actually met him, he was pretty much 3 months old. I was 1989 in New York City with his mom and dad, and he was a baby. And now he is going to be someone instrumental in the basketball world. Was a college D2 Division II NCAA player, unbelievable coach as well. He is now residing as the head of basketball, director of basketball operations at UNT. He's head coach at Bleed Green, North Texas alumni. Stand up. It's Andre Shaw. What's going on, cuz? You good?
Appreciate it, man. Glad to be on.
Yeah, see, I had to boost you up a little bit there. You're a New York kid as well. This is what people don't realize. You're a New York City kid, which I would say is the hardest place to play basketball. Like it just is. Like I felt like it was growing up. Now for you and in your journey now, like we're gonna go from like a part of high school now. So we're gonna start from high school, not preschool. So when you're in high school, did you see your pathway of going to where you've led to going now, or did you think that you were automatically going to the NBA pathway? Like what was your mindset at that time?
The goal is always, to go to the league. I in high school, I was a little bit of a late bloomer. Um, you know, my dad, former pro, grew up in that setting, in that atmosphere as far as other guys, former pros, NBA champions, this, that, and the third. But so I always had a mind for the game. But young basketball in New York City is different. We have limited resources. So I was a bit of a late bloomer in high school, but the goal was always, to go to the league, and I always had visions of that. But at the same time, I also knew that I wanted to coach college basketball. I knew that at a very young age.
Okay.
Traveling on the AAU circuit, and watching guys like coaches like Rick Pitino come to watch your games, or they might be recruiting a player that I played with. So I was always intrigued by that aspect of you know basketball, watching coaches come and try to recruit and things like that. So I always wanted to coach college basketball. That was always a dream.
And you mentioned obviously the legend, Leroy Shaw, who played ball with my dad in Liverpool back in the day. Now, what's crazy about your pops? Obviously, your pops is a legend. He's a playground legend. And
Yeah.
you being the son of a basketball legend, did you ever feel there was any pressure on you? I know what you're gonna say, but did you feel like there was any pressure on you to be like your father in any way?
A ton, a
Yeah.
ton. Growing up in Harlem, he was a big name. You got Rucker Park, and actually my mom and dad met at Rucker Park, which is crazy when
That's
he was
crazy.
playing.
That's crazy. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
like that's where they met. So um that in itself, yeah, you hear the stories, people that haven't seen him in a long time, or see me with him, and we'd be walking down the street or whatever the case may be in the gym, and dad, do you know who your dad is and what he did? And he did this move and that move, and then
Yeah.
he had the crowd going. So yeah, you do feel that pressure of being that, continuing that. So I felt a lot of it growing up.
What was the point in which where was there ever a point of where it got to too much to where you had to kind of take yourself out of basketball and look at yourself as a different type of player? Because obviously being basketball, you know it's all about buckets at the end of the day. That's what they always say. It's all about buckets.
Right.
But was there a moment when you went, these are my strengths, this is what I'm great at, I'm a good guard, I can read the game really well, I'm great in terms of like offense and defense. You're a two-way player. So was there a moment when you went, this is the type of player I'm going to be, but I'm going to be the best at what I do rather than adding new elements to your game? Did you ever have that
Right. 'Cause
moment?
I wanted to play the point like him.
Ah,
Right. I wanted to play the point like my dad. But I wasn't as quick, I wasn't as athletic. I could really shoot the basketball, and it got hard. Like I remember one time not wanting to play just because he was on me pretty hard. I didn't have a good game, and he was kind of on me pretty hard. And I was like, man, like this was young, but I was like,
oh yeah,
man, like I'm through. I'm through. But it never got to, in my mind, I was telling myself that, but at the end of the day, I just loved the game so much that,
yeah.
I continued on with it. But Um, when I got put into a different environment, again, I was a late bloomer, so I went to prep school. I ended up going to prep school, and the talent around me wasn't as high.
Ah,
So I didn't have guys that I could rely on,
yeah.
that, if I'm making plays for them,
You had to
that
be
they
the
were going to
guy.
deliver. So I had to be the guy. And that's when I really found out like what I was about. I really found out how well I can score, because defenses were catering towards me, you know.
Yeah.
I actually played against my dad in my dad's high school team that he
Wow.
was coaching. They played a boxing one on me. I had 30. you
Wow.
know so like it wasn't until I was put in a different environment where I didn't have the marquee names around me like in New York City that I had,
Yeah.
that I really honed into those strengths.
It's so strange you should say that because obviously being in New York, I did say this to someone the other day. There's so many players that because of the environment and the players they played with, they actually never got to reach their full potential. And
Right,
it's because they're playing with such a great team and players that are in like the top 50 high school players in the country. How are
right,
you going to ever get to that level if you're not getting your shot? But in another city or another part of the world, another state, you're going to be starting guard, you're going to be starting center, like you're going to be the guy, but you don't get the opportunity, so you actually miss the time. So I find it when I in high school, I found it quite difficult because being only 6'2", I was quick, but I wasn't that quick. But my
right,
shot was my game. But you had to find what your strength was. And I was like, okay, I'm a shooting guard. That was it. I'm
right,
not gonna try to go for point. Because when I went to New York, I was like, I ain't gonna be a point guard. I knew straight away. There was the point guards were just crazy over there. But I knew I could be a shooting guard. But with you as well, because you established that, all right, I've gone prep school now. The kids I played in New York, they prepared you to be the
hmm
guy in prep
hmm
school. So when you were getting recruited for college, did you feel that you obviously wanted to go to D1? What was the change to where you had to go to D2? What was that the transition?
so so I was getting recruited to go to Philly Dickinson.
Mm.
I had played in the Eastern Invitational, um, a camp that was in Jersey, legendary camp. Had some pretty big time, players on my team. But I was getting recruited to go to Philly Dickinson. I was a, you know, combo guard, could make plays off the ball. You could put me on the ball some, but I was more of a combo shooting guard, but I could
Mm.
really shoot the basketball. So anyway, long story short, was recruited to go to Philly Dickinson, and they ended up getting fired.
Uh,
The staff got fired. So when that happened, I had to go to another prep school. I went to another prep school, went to Vermont Academy. Um, had a great coach. The atmosphere was amazing. And my my recruitment was a little up and down.
mm.
I had dealt with some injury
Yeah,
at Vermont Academy, and again, like I said, the talent level, you know, I had great teammates, but the talent level wasn't as high. So
yeah,
I found myself getting frustrated a little bit, and I think that
yeah.
hurt my recruitment. I think that
Because
hurt my recruitment a
were you
lot.
not were you not winning basically?
Not not at the clip that you want,
Yeah,
and your passion for the game. Sometimes you want to win so bad that when things don't go your way, or teammates that you're playing with are not as serious as you, it could get a little frustrating. So I didn't really know how to channel that energy in the right way. So I think that hurt my recruitment a little bit, and I ended up going to a junior college.
mm.
Went to Essex County Junior College. Started as a freshman, put up great numbers, and then um, my teammates there were great. We
Yeah.
had we had some really good guys. Had a lot of promise, and we're on the track to winning. But these guys didn't get the job done academically.
Oh
So
man, so guys were
I want to,
falling in and out.
yeah, we had
Oh
about we had
man.
about we had about we had about four guys fail off the team.
That's
Um,
crazy. See, a lot of people don't
yeah,
understand. Like, that's the thing about we talk about football, but soccer in the UK, you don't need to have an education to play
yeah,
professional sports here. Like, they don't. And I explain to people, like, when you play certain sports, like you could have the best thing ever, but you'll never know, because if they flunk, there's only a certain things people can do to help.
Right.
If you're just flunking and you're not turning up to class, you out.
Right.
It's over.
Right.
And you were in that
Right.
situation where you had the best guys around you, and
I
because of
had
that
I had
reason,
some
now
good-
you're not bringing the college recruiters to the game where they might be getting recruited, but you might have a great game and they see you. Because that's what I say to people about great teams. If someone's coming to watch someone else, they might go, wait a second, this kid just put up 30. And this kid only put up 18. Like I need to look at this kid. So you didn't have
Absolutely.
that anymore.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But so that was a little bit discouraging. I had a great coach, man. I talked to him to this day,
That's
Tariq
awesome.
Brown. Yeah, I talked to him to this day. Tariq Brown, great dude, helped me develop a lot. And I ended up, just deciding to go my own path.
Yeah.
I had to reevaluate, like you said, like you mentioned earlier, I had to reevaluate. And again, I always wanted to be a college basketball coach. So I actually enrolled, I didn't go, not D2, it was a D3 university, Western New England University, in Springfield, Massachusetts. And I enrolled in there, and I had a great individual career.
Yeah.
Scored over 1,000 points. At one point I was top 20 in scoring in the country. I had a great individual career. We experienced a coaching change in the
Yeah.
middle, between my junior and senior year, but I wish I would have won more in college.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of been my
That's your
Achilles.
thing where you're like, I
Yeah,
just wish I'd have
yeah,
won more.
I wish I would have won more in college. And as a college basketball coach, I've won a lot.
Yeah.
So
But
it
you've
happened.
taken what you've learned from the loss
Exactly.
to make sure you can win. So now if you've got a
Exactly.
kid that is great, that might be failing academically, you're like, nope, we're gonna nip this
Got it.
now and make, because I'm sure you, like, how many times have you come into that position now?
A lot.
Yeah,
A lot.
exactly. But the difference is what you need to do about it to keep them. And I'm sure
Right.
you've make sure you've got the resources around you. That's why you're the head of basketball operations. You've been, and that's why I say sometimes experience always takes over what you've actually learned in college, because
Right.
you emotionally experienced it and you've seen how it can damage an organization and the money that comes to the colleges, because it's all a money. We all know it's all a money tree. If they're not
Absolutely.
winning, they're not getting no money from the people to actually support the team.
Absolutely.
So like,
Absolutely. No, I definitely rely on those experiences that I had as a player. And listen, at the end of the day, if you can't make it in the classroom, you can't play. Like, point blank, it's not going to go anywhere. You have to make grades in order for you
it's
to play.
honestly, I'm not kidding you. If that rule was applied in football over here in the UK, this is not even about, like, sorry to diss every football player, but more than 95% of the best football players that came out of this country you would never have heard of them. Just
It's a shame.
because there's no system. We don't have a system. Like, they just play football, they get scouted, they play for the younger professional team, and then they work their way up. And then they're
Right.
17, 18, and then they're in the professional, they're getting paid like real money. But you don't have to go to do any academics at all. And that's why I just find it, and that's why a lot of people, again, go broke, because if you don't know what your finances are, you don't know how to handle your finances, you're no longer getting paid. I just saw the Allen Iverson statistic today, which I was like, damn, like he's only net worth is like $1 million right now.
To somebody, he's an icon, man. So
Exactly. But the reason why it is because he was burning through money. No investments, just burning through money, living off what he was getting paid to that lifestyle, and feeding everyone around him. Everyone doesn't talk about that as well. It's not just him spending it, it's everyone else spending it too. But he's due for like something like $55 million in 7 years from Reebok. They just give that to him, which is great. And I didn't realize, like, Chris Bosh got a deal like that the other day, which I'm like, damn, like, these guys are still making money, not even playing ball. But going back to the point, so with you going into that point where you had that moment where you said, all right, this is what I'm going to do, I'm going to be a coach. You could have went overseas after college. You could have went probably G League. What was that transition? What happened? Where did you go? What happened then?
So at some point, basketball stops. And I had to tell myself, do I want to pursue this professional career? Again, I wasn't a big name guy. Can I score? Can I play? Yes, I could, but I wasn't a big name guy. So that path might have been a little rocky. And I honestly, I just thought to myself long and hard, like, do I want to start this coaching career? Can I, if I start now, can I get to where I want to be in, the right time?
Yeah.